All right, we got some technique about to start here. What's going on, man? What are you doing here at the C3?
I'm just coming in here supporting the cause. Cliff is a great friend of mine, and he's been a big influence in me and my wrestling career and my ventures and in my everyday life. So why not come and support this pretty cool scenario that's going on here.
You said you get some Nike stuff going on. What's going on?
Yeah, so I recently left ASICS. So I was the global product line manager for ASICS, and one of the cool things that I got to do within ASICS was develop the global wrestling shoe line. And now I moved over to Nike, and I can't really touch base on what exactly I'm going to be doing because it's all confidential, but you guys will see some stuff coming out pretty soon.
Jordan Burroughs said a lot of good things about you. He said that he worked a lot with you interactively on the shoe that he did.
Yeah.
Now that you're gone, that's probably going to be a little different for him.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there. I know that when I talked to Jordan about my departure, that was one of the conversations we had. I'm very confident that ASICS in general will make sure that he's well taken care of. There's some people behind the scenes that will make that happen. I know Jordan and I have a really tight connection because I wrestled, he wrestled, and having somebody with that background work on his shoe really kind of brought it into fruition of what he wanted kind of his shoe to define, right? Jordan Burroughs and his design and colors. So I don't know how much influence he's going to have moving forward, but like I said, I think ASICS will definitely make sure that he's well taken care of.
But under you, a wrestler, he had a ton, and that's when we talk about wrestlers like dealing with wrestlers.
Yes.
No matter what, we like dealing with one another.
Yeah.
I see an ear that's cauliflower broken. I know that's a person who I can deal with and I've got a brotherhood with, a kinship. Looking at that, I mean, he couldn't say enough good things. Now the creative, it's going to be a little different, but how can you take what you did at ASICS over to Nike and get them to the next level?
Well, it's just influence. I mean, I learned a lot from ASICS and a lot of people within the ASICS organization, so I'm going to utilize that skill set to move and help move the needle for Nike. I know they made a huge commitment with USA Wrestling, and I think that's cool. I think it's better for the sport of wrestling when you have multiple companies, proactively investing, because now it makes everybody step up their game. And you're right. I mean, the influence that we had with each other within Jordan and myself, and not even Jordan, Adeline Gray as well, and Gable and Rulon, it just speaks volumes that when you have the same lingo and the same terminology and same atmosphere as the sport of wrestling, it's more comfortable to deal with somebody like that.
I look at Nike on 2-3 years ago was on life support with wrestling. They were going to cut the wrestling line. If you remember, I don't know if you remember.
Yeah,
they were done. They were done with wrestling, and then it gets a shot in the arm. Knowing that they got that shot in the arm, they got this deal with USA Wrestling. What's that mean for you, building momentum as a wrestler, as a wrestling guy, going into Nike? What's that mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot, right? First of all, it means job security and me providing for my family. But like I mentioned earlier, I think when you have more companies really competing, it's better for the sport, it's better for the athlete, and it grows the sport in general, because now instead of having one brand really being that only one brand that's supporting the sport, now you have multiple brands, and I feel like it makes everybody step up their game, and ultimately the consumer will be the largest beneficiary of that.
They haven't done a signature shoe in a while. Nike has not done with an athlete.
Right.
Okay, the last one I want to say is Colat.
Colat, yep.
What's the last? Is that something where you can't really speak to what you're doing, but is that something that you would want to? Could we see guys with a signature shoe line? Is that something you'd be interested in?
I mean, I would encourage it. I think it's important to know that the investment that they've done with USA Wrestling is huge, right? And I think an investment on a signature athlete is even huge. It's even bigger, because now these kids, we have a bunch of kids here that are looking to go to the next level, and they look up to the Jordan Burroughs, they look up to Adeline Gray, the female perspective wise. I think it's important that they do that, because it's going to speak volume, and it's going to really show that individual consumer, hey, we're making a hero style of shoe. You know what I mean? Who that athlete is, I don't know. You know what I mean? It could be a James Green now that he signed with Nike, and he potentially could be a world championship.
Daringer's a Nike guy,
a Cox now is a Nike guy. So
I'll tell you what, Jaden Cox, I don't know if I could have a better guy. That guy right there,
awesome.
We just got to get a towel to get that sweat off of him.
That guy.
But he's phenomenal. He's a great face, I would say.
I think next to Jordan Burroughs, he's probably the next guy that I would say kids are going to look up to, because he has a great story. He's well spoken. He's charismatic. He's a great dude. And I mean, he's come from nothing, you know, and went over a lot of obstacles to be where he's at. And I feel like a lot of, especially in this world, a lot of kids can really, you know, align with what Cox has done.
And what Jaden's got on his side is he's out of college, whereas Kyle Snyder's got to wait another year.
Right.
You know, that's what Jaden's got going for him. He's got time is on his side at least another year.
But I tell you, man, Kyle Snyder is going to be the best thing to come out. And in terms of signature shoes, I'm going to be surprised if as soon as his collegiate career is over, if he doesn't have a signature shoe by the end of the month, it's going to be surprising to me.
I'd be a travesty to me, man. That guy,
sure.
he's solid people too, right?
He's a great individual.
Great individual.
For sure.
Working with wrestlers, when they see you and they know that you're in the credibility you've built with your relationships that you hit, and you know from ASICS, and some of those aren't transferable. Obviously, the Jordan relationship is, but business-wise, you can't bring him over. What do you think guys think of and girls think of who are in wrestling when they get to deal with you? What do you think that does to the wrestler?
Well, I feel that the relationship that I built in my previous world with those athletes you just mentioned, it just gives me a lot of, like, it opens the door, because, you know, some people are very kind of cautious of opening up and letting themselves loose in front of other people that they don't know. But the fact that I have that relationship with Jordan and Adeline and Gable and Rulon and Kale, it just shows the new athlete, hey, this guy knows how to work with these athletes. He knows the lingo. He's worked with all these other wrestlers, and you know, and I want to build great relationships with those guys. As I am a individual that I'm a fanatic about the sport, I'm also a fan of these athletes, you know what I mean? So I really appreciate that I get to do that on an everyday basis, and I don't take that for granted.
You guys going and getting bringing Terry Brands over, that was huge. I mean, straight up, to break down the barrier right there, you guys brought over a lifetime ASICS guy. How you bring guys over like that, do you think you guys are going to continue to try and change people over?
Yeah, that was Grant, and that was Eddie from APS, and I think, you know, those guys at that time even opened my eyes, because I was with a competitive brand, you know, that they were trying to beat. I think it's positive. I think it's showing, again, hey, we're not afraid to invest, and we're willing to make that investment and get an individual that's been with ASICS for such a long time and moving them over. Right now, I think it's key, because you get these influencers to move over, everybody else is going to follow, and it just speaks volume of Eddie and Grant, that they have that power, they have that mentality that they can go in there and take athletes like that away from ASICS.
Do you work here or do you work in Beaverton?
No, I work out here in Torrance.
So do you have to go up to Beaverton?
Yeah, I'll be out there in 2 weeks for a week.
So you guys are out there. I mean, you got Oregon State right there. It's the only Division I college wrestling program. You know, there's not a lot of Division I college wrestling program. How can you guys help promote college wrestling here on the West Coast?
Well, I think that again, it speaks to the commitment with USA Wrestling, right? Because now they know that Nike has invested in the USA Wrestling contract. That's going to should trickle down to the collegiate style of wrestling, and ultimately help bring more colleges and universities to the sport of wrestling.
All right, we got Munoz doing some technique. We got all types of stuff going on here. Do you got anything else for me?
No, I appreciate this, man. You know, I have 4 kids. My wife was a women's All-American. My 4 kids are wrestling, and you know, my youngest daughter is going to be wrestling in AAU Women's Nationals. And I think bringing them to this environment and having them surrounded by individuals like Cliff and yourself and Mark, and even, you know, we were fortunate enough to have dinner with the Burroughses, and my daughter still to this day talks about that. I just want them to understand that what I do is for them as well, and you know, and if it wasn't for the sport of wrestling, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.